than we had in the past. So, yeah. Anyway, I didn't expect to talk this long on the uniform, but I'm glad we did, man. I think it is cool, and I want to embrace it. The people that are like, who cares this uniform? Come on, guys. Can we have a little fun here? You know what I mean? And I think the chat's in agreement with us, too. But Josh Jacobs, fellas, he is on the top 100 list. He comes in the number 33 spot on the top 100. I want to get your all's take on it. Do we feel like that's too high? Is it too low? Is it just about right? I know you probably, like me, you'd rather see which running backs are ahead of him, and then you can make a decision on whether he should be higher or not. But we'll start with you, Tim. What do you think, man? Is 33 in the right spot, or do you think that's maybe a little low?
I think it's fair because this is the top 100 players, period, right, as voted on by the players. Right. So it doesn't necessarily matter what your position is or, position group or anything. So I would think that it's not even debatable that Josh Jacobs would belong in the first half of that list, right? He'd be a top 50 player if you're talking top 100. Maybe they could have been a little more friendly to him. I could see maybe possibly in that top 25 range, but I feel good about 33. I think that's fair. 33 out of the top 100. I've always said, and I'll say it again, I feel like the top 3 running backs in the National Football League are Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs. And granted, we're going into a new year and, new stars to be born. And, it's the NFL, not for long. You never know. It's a new season. But I certainly feel like Josh Jacobs is a top 3 to 5 running back in the league. So putting him at 33 on the top 100, I think that's pretty accurate, pretty close to it, right?
I'm trying to think, Emilio. We still haven't seen Xavier McKinney, right? Am I thinking right?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing him, so he's got to be – yeah, so he should be inside the top 30 because I'm pretty sure they went 40 to 30 or 39 to 30, whatever it was. But that just kind of dawned on me. I'm thinking who would be left? I think that's the only one that would be left is Xavier McKinney. But what do you think about – what do you think about Josh Jacobs here at number 33, man?
If you're talking Madden numbers, X would be our best player, right? So you would hope that he's in the top 30 if Josh Jacobs is right there because I was listening to that Love of the Star pod for the Dallas Cowboys. They had Baldy on, and Baldy mentioned Jacobs twice when they were talking about NFC opponents and, where teams are leaning, following, Philly and everything. That just Jacobs is that kind of guy. They mentioned Aaron Jones. Any good offense has a good running back. He was trying to say, the Cowboys were a good offense when they had a good running back. Emmett, Zeke, all that stuff. So you kind of can follow good offenses with good backs, which is just sort of the opposite of where the league was trying to lean to, being a pass-heavy league. But the running game is just so important. I think 33 is definitely fair for Josh. Obviously, we'd like to have him a little higher, but you're running out of spots there once you get below 30. And I'm glad that we found him early in the season and, whatever happened with Love last year, I'm glad that Jacobs kind of got that burn early, get the engine moving, get him going downhill because it made a difference at the end of the season.
Yeah. And this makes me feel a lot more comfortable about the Jordan Love injury and the receivers being a little banged up. Tim, you can go right into week 1 and you don't have to lean on the pass. You know what I mean? Let's press into the run a little bit. Let's come out a little more 12 personnel. Let's try to how Detroit played us in the game that you attended in the rain at Lambeau. If you guys go back and watch that game, they were just playing conservative. Like, we're going to let them make the mistakes. We're going to let them beat themselves, and boy, did we. So I kind of like the idea of week 1. If Jordan Love's thumb isn't 100%, I think he'll play. Don't get me wrong, but if for some reason we feel like it's still bothering him a little bit, and let's say that you're missing a receiver or two, whether it's a Dontavion Wicks to add a little more depth, or maybe Lord forbid it's Romeo Doubs with the back. If you're down a couple bodies at wide receiver, I say let's press into the run and let's make them make the first mistake, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Just kind of play the field position game, kind of beat them at their own game type thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, anytime you got your starter, banged up, whether it's non-throwing hand or not, thumb injury, that's serious. You're going to adjust your game plan. I like running the football out of those pistol looks, out of those shotgun looks, kind of get that defense guessing a little bit. There's always the threat of the pass. And you allow Jordan to work, some of those, quick draws or quick toss type of plays. And I'm with you. be vanilla if you have to. Be, kind of, I don't want to say predictable, but, go ahead and pound the rock. And you're going to open up the pass game. As soon as those safeties start cheating and creeping up, we already know what Jay Money can do. And you start opening up the pass game. So I think there's nothing wrong with that approach. I'm with you. I think Jordan's definitely going to play week 1 regardless. We've heard the comments about the reason why they went ahead with the surgery now because, we're week 2 of the preseason. This is not week 1 of the regular season or something. And, he would probably grit and bear it and play through 17 games with a broken thumb, no problem. I think it's good that they had the procedure done now. He's got to cast it up. He can, work his rehab and also know what it's like to play football with, a cast or some kind of wrap on that thumb going forward. So, if he's still got something going on there week 1, I would anticipate Jordan would be pretty used to getting reps, with that left hand being wrapped up a little bit. So I'm with you. You're going to adjust that game plan, though, either way, week 1.
Yeah. AFAM in the chat says we need more read option. I was hoping they would run more read option this year with Jordan. Now be smart with it. You know what I mean? Get him on the ground. Don't try to turn it into something where you're Jalen Hurts out there lowering your head in traffic, But again, if that thumb is a little banged up, AFAM, we may have to wait a week or 2. You know what I mean? Get it completely healthy before you really start trying to run the rock a little bit there with the read option stuff. Now, if Malik Willis starts, probably going to see a heavy dose of it. And that's the other thing too, is if you're down a couple players and Jordan's thumb isn't completely ready, I want him out there week 1. It sounds like he's going to be out there week 1. I have heard nothing to think otherwise. However, if he's not 100%, I'm not opposed to marching Malik Willis out there and going, you know what, let's try to run the rock. Let's control the clock. Let's see if we can beat the Lions that way. Again, if we start the season, and I know I'm going to catch hate for this, and that's totally cool. If we start the season 0-2, I'm not hitting the panic button. And I know there's the haters out there hoping it happens, and I'm talking about Packer fans that hope it happens. Believe it or not, there is a small portion of the Packer fan base that they love to see this team struggle. I don't care what anybody says. You could tell by the way they tweet, the way they act. They're looking for a reason to be correct on past assumptions, past predictions that didn't come true because this team somehow, some way won 11 games last year, right? But I look at the season like, okay, let's look at what's best for the long-term success of the team. And if Jordan isn't 100%, I'm not going to sacrifice him hurting that thumb even further and setting him back even further just to potentially win one game because it's the Detroit Lions.
Do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
The ultimate goal isn't to win win week 1. The ultimate goal is to win the whole damn thing, right? And sometimes it's tough on coaches, it's tough on players. They need to take a step back and go, all right, look, what's going to help us in the long run? If that makes sense. So now, if we come out on the flip side here and we start the season 2-0, against Detroit and Washington, albeit you're at home, you're kind of expected to win those games, right? I think they said we're favorites. Vegas has us as favorites to win every game but one this year. And I can't remember which one it was as you flash it up here. That's week 1 though. I was trying to think of which team it was.
Oh, I got you here.
Let me just look here real quick because they said there was one team that we were underdog. I think it might have been Philly. It might have been Philly. Or maybe it was at Detroit. But anyway, I remember somebody saying it the other day, and listen, those odds can change. Obviously, they could change in the blink of an eye. But it just kind of goes to show you that even though there's a good portion of people that are sleeping on the Packers, isn't it funny? We're favorites in all but one game, at least going into the preseason. So,
hey, this guy right here says 4-0 going into the bye. So
love that.
If you go into the bye 4-0, and then you come out the other side, and now it's Christian Watson watch season, let's go, dude. You know what I mean? You're in a really, really good spot there. So, All right, let's shift gears so people don't say that I use the title as clickbait. I've got that a couple times. We started creating custom thumbnails, but
we're gonna give him some.
That's what they do, Tim. That's what they do.